Shit, this is Big Flow.
Yo, what's up? This is DJ X.
This is K.
This is G-Ball.
This is Vez.
This is Juno.
You're tuned in to GFG TV.
So we're live here at GFG TV.
You tuned in to GFG TV.
And you're now tuned in to GFG TV.
When you're tuned in to GFG TV.
West YouTube, it's your boy Big Ray West. You tuned in to GFG TV.
Yo, it's some Dash. You tuned in to GFG TV. You know what it is, man.
Alright, we are sitting down here today with some Dash. We're going to pick your brain, learn a little bit more about you today. For all the fans here at GFG TV, everybody else that already knows this is my brother, some Dash from another. We'll dive into a little bit, but you can introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from?
My name's Some Dash from Des Moines, originally from Connecticut. And yeah, man, I make beats and raise kids and dogs.
What was it like growing up in Connecticut versus when you moved here to Iowa? A lot different there.
It's way more fast paced over there. You know what I mean? Here it was like time slowed down when I got out here, but you know, it wasn't in Des Moines when I first got here. I got into a little town called Jefferson. And man, I mean, it was just like, what? Crazy. Like, I ain't never seen cornfields. I never seen like gravel roads. I never seen none of that shit. And when I came here, like, they took me away from the airport at Des Moines, and then all of a sudden, like, Des Moines was gone, and there wasn't shit. I was like, what the fuck? So it was a big culture shock.
Where we going?
Yeah. Like, not you know, all in all, like, it wasn't bad, but like, from you to be a kid, like, from like a city, you know what I'm saying, on the East Coast where it's fast paced, you know what I mean? You got to get your own and shit. And then you come out here and it's just like, hey, man. You know, like, people driving farm trucks mad slow. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I'm like, yo, what do you guys do out here, yo? You know what I mean? 'Cause my dad always told me, he's like, oh, the women out there, they just eat, they chew tobacco and they don't spit. And I'm like, yo, what? So I was like, shit, I had a crazy misconception coming out here at 17, bro.
What schools did you go to when you lived in Connecticut?
I went to Newington High School.
Newington High School.
Yeah.
So what was that, like, how many people?
I mean, that's a big school. I think like my graduating class was, you know, like over 1,000. You know what I'm saying? So it was a decent, it probably rivals, you know what I'm saying, you know, most of the high schools down here in Des Moines, you know, about the same size. So, and then I went to Jefferson, which had like 4 towns. Like, I never knew you could have 4 towns have like one school. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, yo, we had like maybe a couple schools in one town. You know what I mean? So like, I came there and they're like, nah, it's like this town, Jefferson, and something else. And I'm like, and it was, yo, the school was mad small. Yo, it's like the size of like the tech ed department and like the art wing of like Newington High. So I was like, yo, when I came here, I was like, yo, there's like your whole class is like your class, bro. Like, those same people move with you in each class that are like the ones that are the same ones that walk across stage with you. Like, you know, you might have cats in class like in Connecticut, but then you got like other, you know, you got 30-something kids in each class, and that could be a different 31, you know, plus you in each one, and you got, you know what I'm saying, mad dudes walking across stage or whatever. That was the craziest thing that like tripped me out. I was like, yo, like, it's way slow out here. It's like small, like, you know what I mean? It was crazy. It was a big culture shock, you know? So.
What was your childhood like? Your parents, your siblings, did you have both?
Yeah, I got you know, obviously a mom and a dad. They split up when I was mad young. Basically lived with my dad my whole life till 17, moved out here with my mom. I got a half-sister and a stepsister, both, you know, 7, 9 years older than me. My sister was never really in the house. She either lived with my grandmother or lived with my cousin. So I mean, really, I was basically an only child, if you could put it that way. Like, I had like my stepmom's daughter that lived in the house, but she was like so much older than me that, you know what I mean, it was like she wasn't even there, you know? So I basically grew up as like an only child with mad cousins that I like, you know, we were all like 1 to 2 years apart, like 6 of us, so that's what I did with them, you know what I mean? Just grew up with them. Basically, my cousin Jay, me and him got mad, you know, mad shit. So it was pretty crazy, like, childhood in Connecticut, as far as like, we did some crazy shit here too. So I guess all in all, man, it was an eventful childhood I've had.
When did you get into hip hop?
Probably, when did Gin and Juice come out? Like 92? 93?
Could have been around there.
Somewhere around.
Yeah, I remember like Snoop and Dre and being like,
Yeah.
you know, second, third grade and like digging that, you know what I mean? And then 90 something, my cousin Jay was cutting my hair in my aunt's like little porch, and he had the Funcrusher Plus co-flow tape, and popped that in, and that, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I was like into Snoop and all that, you know, but never, like I was too young, you know, it just sounded cool to me at that time, you know. But then when he popped that in, I was of mind that I could be like, yo, what the fuck is this? This is way different than like anything I've heard, you know, like. It's like abstract, like I felt like Wu-Tang was, you know what I mean? And then, but then even more, you know what I mean? So I would say from the time I listened to the Funcrusher Plus, I think that came out like, I think the promo came out like 90, maybe 98, 96, somewhere between like 96, 97 would be where like it really exploded for me, and I was engulfed in it, you know what I mean? And then like Napster and shit came out, so you could just, I was just like a nerd like that on the computer, just digging for like the most indie music that I could find that was like East Coast based, you know what I mean? Like I was real heavy East Coast head, so I was just digging like being able to do that and open up to new artists there, or like, you know, go to, like they don't have them here, but you can go to like a hip hop shop or whatever, really, you know, buy mixed, like cats will have, you know, all the mixtapes out by like, you know, caps for like spray paint, like, you know, all types of shit, and you could find the new there, you know what I mean? Or you could go get like the Eastern Conference joint, or you could go get like Tony Touch, or you could go see what Flex was putting out right then, you know what I mean? And then that would clue me in. I'd be like, yo, who's this? And then I hit the computer, like try to download as much song from that person or whatever, you know what I mean? And then it would just, oh, they featured who? Let me go get this you know what I mean? And just took my mind over, and that's all I would do, you know, is just try to find more music, so I could go to school and be like, yo, you heard this? And Cass would be like, nah, who the fuck's that? And I'd be like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's where my fascination with that shit started, because I do that right now with, like, you know what I mean? Like, anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I try to get that exclusive. You know what I mean? Like, you brought it up the other day. I was like, yeah. It's been like that since I've been a kid.
So, when did that transform into you wanting to make music?
Like, right around 98. I remember I was in 8th grade, and, you know, being a troubled teen, I had this one dude, Mr.May, was my teacher, and like, he was just the illest dude, because he would see that I would sit there and I would try to rhyme, you know what I mean? I'd try to put it on paper and start writing bars, and I would like have a hard time thinking of like, because my style's a little different when I rhyme, you know what I mean? Like I use multi-syllable words a lot, you know, and sometimes I'll ride maybe the kick, or I'll ride the hi-hat, or I'll ride the snare. Sometimes I'll interchange, you know, and flip, because I have like a multi-syllable word that falls that way. So like I'd always have like writer's block, I guess, and be like, oh, what rhymes with interrogation? You know what I mean? And I'd be like, you know, and I remember he gave me this little, I mean, y'all could call it cheating or whatever, but as a kid, he gave me this little rhyming dictionary, bro. Like, it was a little leather fucking cover and shit, real small, you could fit in your pocket. And I remember one day he just brought it into me, and he was like, yo, because I used to have a chart, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get so many points at the end of the week, and you could go to basketball practice or whatever. So like, he was like, yo, you get all the, you know, you get 5 points today, and he's like, I got a gift for you. And I'm like, cool, man. So I'm like all excited. You're like, what Mr. May bring me, yo? And so I was good and shit like that. And then he handed me that, yo. And like, I remember like being as a kid, like that fucked me up mentally, like in a good way though. Like I didn't know how to interpret somebody who was in like a authoritative type figure, you know what I'm saying? Like actually embracing something that like I was getting in trouble in school for doing, because I wouldn't concentrate on the math problems on the board. I'd be concentrating on how do you actually write a 16, like what is a 16, you know what I mean? So I'd rather be sitting there like doing that, and I'd be in trouble for like not getting assignments done or not listening, acting out, you know. And for him to actually like embrace that, but like help me out and give me something like that, like fucked me up, yo. So shout out to you, Mr. May, man. Like for real, you helped inspire something in me that like I still have to this day, you know what I mean? Like, I still might be a perfectionist and, like, never put nothing out, but the fact is, like, yo, like, anybody that knows me could say, yo, like, here, put a beat on, and I'll have the verse done by the time I leave. You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard for me to write personally. That's not, like, bragging or being like, yo, I'm Jay-Z, or, like, it's not that. It's just, I studied, you know what I mean? Like, I literally tried to write, you know what I'm saying? Because being the white dude and saying that you rhyme and shit, cats were always like, all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might catch them in the cafeteria. You might catch them, you know, like in a study hall. They might catch you outside waiting for the bus and shit and just start busting on the bus, and then there you go. You know what I mean? And cats are rhyming. And now, you know, not for nothing, but I'm like 5 foot, 120 soaking wet in 8th grade talking about I rhyme with a backpack mad graffiti on it. They're like, yo, what? So, like, I had to, like, you know what I mean, make sure that, like, what I was saying, cats were like, yo, what? You know what I mean? So that's why I would pick, like, big multi-syllable words, because, like, cats weren't doing that then. And if I could, like get 8 or 9 of those going in my head, like, by the time, you know what I mean, I could spit for fucking a minute and still be going off of that, like, multi-syllable word, you know, and cats would be like, yo, what? You know, I'd be like, yeah, man. You know what I mean? So, like, and that's back to Mr.May giving me that little dictionary, being like, here, you know what I mean? Giving me, like, something to look at and compare, and then be like, have the confidence to know that, like, that shit just starts coming off now. You know what I mean? You give me a word, we'll start rhyming. You know what I mean? Like, so shout out to him for that. And yeah, man, I don't know where this question went to, or if I even answered it, but
Definitely. It was, you know, and we're touching on that, you know, why, you know, when and where you started doing hip hop. You answered a few other questions, but what keeps inspiring you to do it today?
just a love of it, man. You know what I mean? There might be days, like right now, me and Trigg just dropped the album, and I ain't even listened to a beat in a minute since I've been, you know, doing this BMX stuff with my kids. But, you know, once I hear the beat, it's like that's when I know. You know what I mean? And but that's really all it takes, is like hearing that one beat or hearing that one song that maybe somebody put out, like, yo, that's like fire. Like, I'll even, like, right now, a couple hours ago, I just peeped that D. Carlone in Mizzou, the Millie or whatever. Bro, that's heat. Fuego. You know what I mean? And that right there will inspire me. Now I'll be digging in the phone, you know what I'm saying, or digging in the computer, or being, you know, hitting on my cousin like, yo, what do you got, man? You know what I mean? Let's get it moving again, because now I'm inspired. Like, that was, like, that shit was ill. You know, mine, like, the video's dope or whatever, but like that, like, his hook on that song is just, like, captivating. Like, the way it is just like, it immediately draws you in, and you're like, yo. Like, for me anyway, and I'm just like, oh, y'all nailed it on that one. Like, that's the inspiration. That's where it's like, yo, you gotta go do something. You know what I mean? Like, yo, go make a song, you know? Probably won't come out because I'll never drop it, but make this, you know what I mean? So that's the inspiration, is like hearing the beat, or, you know, as far as like making a beat, hearing some abstract song, you know what I mean, on Spotify from, like, you know, some Dutch singer from like 1963 and some like crazy grimy genre, you know what I mean? And you hear like that one little trumpet or, you know, whatever, and you're like, oh, all right, you know what I mean? Then it'll get me, my mind will start working, and, you know, then I go from there.
So, talk about your latest project that you worked with Trigger on.
Yeah, Stash and Trigg is 5 joints. My cousin, shout out to Boombots, at J Boombots. He made like three of the joints on there, and Eli or Trigg had 2 of them. And I mean, this album's been in the works for, like, I've known him for forever, and we've been trying to put some type of project out, but it never lined up. And a lot of times, man, I'll get my stuff done, and then I'm such a perfectionist that, like, I'll always pick out what's wrong with it and just never put it out. You know what I mean? So we finally got together, and we were just like, we got to do it, you know, and made a bunch of tracks, took 5 of them, and, you know what I mean, put it out. So.
Is that available on?
Yeah, it's available on all streaming platforms. It's just type in Dash and Trigg, kept it real simple, you know what I mean? 5 tracks, it's hip hop, you know, you're not gonna catch, like, you know, nothing that's gonna, you know, hit the club. There ain't nothing that's, you know, gonna make you and your lady vibe. It's just raw hip hop. You know what I mean?
Nice. So, out of you know, the whole time you've been recording, what's your favorite track you've ever recorded?
Probably Good Dad Gang. It's probably like a 32 bar verse over JG the Beast beat. It will be released at some point, you know what I mean? It's like a Rocky type anthem beat, and just speaking to my kids, basically, you know what I mean? Telling them, you know, I'm just trying to be the man. They need me to be in stand. You pull the shit out of a motherfucker, dog. You know, but just trying to say, have something to say to them forever, you know what I mean, without saying too much. I repeat it a couple times. I do like a little actuator to it, you know, just to kind of split it up. But that or the one to my wife, which ain't came out yet either. And they've both been done for probably 2 to 3 years. But, you know, they got to be perfect, you know, for me to release it for everybody to hear and stuff like that. And I just
super vulnerable.
Yeah, they're there, but they're not. You know what I mean? There's just, you know, like they'll give me the goosebumps when I hear it, but not like, you know what I mean? Like when I was recording them, you know, those are probably the only 2 tracks ever where like I've like had to stop takes, not because, you know, I fucked up a bar or a word, but because like I was fucking like crying, yo, like. You know what I'm saying? Like tearing up and being like, fuck, man. You know, we gotta take that back because you can hear my voice crack. But then you're fighting the other side of the producer in you or the whatever saying, nah, you need to keep that in because that's the inflection that people want to hear. That's what makes it known that it's, you know, that heartfelt. So it's really just finding that balance, that thin line of like, again, not too much but not too little, you know? And I'm just stuck in the middle with those. But now that I've actually spoke about them and everybody knows, they're gonna have to come out. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to get them done.
So, favorite feature you ever had?
Favorite feature? Either the Trip joint that again never came out, or the joint with Asai Lifetime, who was like a dude from Connecticut that was a local cat that I grew up with, you know, not so much idolizing, but being like, yo, that's the man, you know, in town. That's the man locally. That's like, you know, and then that person being so dope and rocking with like the dopest cats in Connecticut, you know what I'm saying, aside from like Apathy. And then actually being able to like make music with them and do a track. So I'd have to say probably that one.
Nice. So, when did you start watching UFC?
Tough Days, Tough One.
Tough one.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite fighter?
Of all time or favorite fighter now?
Let's do all time and then favorite current.
All time, you probably got to go with like Anderson Silva. I mean, it's so cliche, but at the time, you know, maybe
Spider came out to dope music.
Yeah, like I came out to the same exact track that he did when I, you know, dabbled in it and stuff. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Plus he was just the one that would like just came out and you were like, yo, against the fence against Forrest, you know what I mean? Just like, or when he, you know, like Vitor with the front kick, you know, like at that time that was just like, oh, like, so probably like him. And like now, I don't know, man. There's so many that it's like hard to keep up with.
Top three,
like, you know, gotta say Adesanya, who's gonna be fighting tonight. I really like him. I like the respect that he's had that then molded into his confidence that now is not an ego, but you know what I mean? Like you can see him evolve from wanting to earn it to getting up there and actually doing it. Who else? I don't know, who's that dude we watched fight a couple weeks ago, man? He was like mad crazy. I forget who it was. There's so many fighters now, you know, and ever since Conor, nobody's really been able to like be that superstar. I don't know if that's because of like the pandemic and all of that, but for me now it's just everything's so jumbled. It's like like I forget who fights and who don't, or when they last fought, or who they last fought. You know what I mean? So.
What do you think about Derrick Lewis in his last?
Derrick Lewis is always fun. Like, he's not the most technical. Like, you're not looking at him for, like, crisp, like, combinations. It's just, yo, when is he going to hit the dude, and then what's he going to say afterwards? You know what I mean? Like, that's the illest thing for me. I love, like, you know, he seems humble, but always, but still is, like, sure about himself. You know what I mean? I like the... He's from, like, Memphis or something, right? Somewhere down south, because
He's Tennessee.
Tennessee or something, yeah, because he has, like, that southern, like, hospitality to him. You know what I mean? And it's like he has like a humor, but it's kind of like a dry humor, but like a yo, like I'm Derrick fucking Lewis. You know what I mean? I'll put you to sleep type of humor. You know what I mean? It's just a no holds barred type of humor. So that's fire. Yeah, I like that question.
Who do you have this weekend? Adesanya or Jan Blachowicz?
I want Adesanya. Yeah, Blachowicz is a beast though. You know what I mean? And is it his time, you know, like it's so crazy now, like belts switch hands so much. It seems like everybody's coming up, like everybody's really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Good.
nobody excels so much over everybody else, and even if you did by now, like, you know, everybody, you know, if you're fighting the champion, it seems like now, like, yo, anything can happen. You know what I mean? So
Polish power too. That dude's got some hands.
yeah, bro. Like,
So, and I don't know. I think it's starting to get to a point to where it is so advanced to where moving weights is not going to be as common. Kind of like where boxing went, because boxing for a while there, I mean, there was people. Look at Roy, like he went. You know, he's like fuck everybody in every division, and I'll fuck you all up.
but boxing's a little different. You have more divisions like within weights. You know what I'm saying? It's
big
hard for a
jump.
cat to like go from 145 to
He only weighed in
170.
at 202 pounds.
Where when he fought fucking
No, Adesanya for tonight.
oh, he did?
Weighed in only,
Yeah, he's trying to get up there to John, ain't he?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
So
So
202 pounds. You got to think if you're a 180 fighter, 185. Wouldn't you think he probably walks around with that anyway? That's just like
you're walking around something at that, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
maybe he's even a little water loaded right now. Maybe, you know what I mean? Just being ready.
Yeah,
for
but
competition.
my man's trying to put on the muscle, I think, to get to 205. You know what I mean?
West YouTube, this your boy Big Ray West. You tuned in to GFG TV.